dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Hello and welcome to Liberty Nation Radio. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas from all the team over here. We've got quite the show ahead of us this week. We're going to be looking at what the biggest events of 2025 were and what the implications are. Please remember, Liberty Nation Radio is sponsored by LibertyNation.com, where you can access podcasts, breaking news analysis, and a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. And you're back on Liberty Nation Radio with our post-Christmas edition of Liberty Nation Radio. I remain your host, Mark Angelides. We're very fortunate to have with us Liberty Nation's enterprise reporter, Mr. Joe Schaeffer. Merry Christmas and thanks for coming in, Joe. How are you?
Merry Christmas to you. Thank you.
So, Joe, we are approaching the end of the year, and I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on how you think this year has gone. So, for some people in the United States and abroad, this has been the worst year in the history of their minds. We saw Donald Trump re-enter the White House after being told that for the 87th time that the writing was on the wall, and he re-entered the White House. And shock and horror, he actually went and tried to do just about everything that he said he was going to do, which not everybody is happy about, I would say. But and then there's the international stage where Donald Trump has, I don't know, what's the best way to say this, Joe? Reasserted the United States as the dominant political force on the globe. And again, just as many people are equally upset about that.
And some of us on the right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like some people on the left, well, almost everybody on the left, and some people on the political right as well, who see Donald Trump's, I wouldn't call them interferences with world affairs, but dipping his toes into world affairs.
In a way that his supporters did not vote for.
Sure. Well, we're going to talk about that now. So let's begin this by saying, when Donald Trump came into office at the beginning of the year, how do you think he did?
To me, the most interesting thing of 2025 is it went by so fast. Am I wrong about that? To me, it came by in a blur.
This happens the older you get.
Yeah, I'm getting old now, but I've been old for a while now. In previous years, didn't seem to go by this fast. It seemed like yesterday Kamala had their little coup and took over for Biden, and now we've already had 1 year of Trump under our belts. And I think he's done a lot of good. He's I think the most important thing he's done is pursuing the mass deportation operation. And it becoming clear cut that the vast majority of the American people are with him on this. So, when the media wants to paint it as a horrible thing and, oh my God, these people, they just want to live their lives and they're being ripped away. And everyone's like, no, deport them, deport more. We want more deportations. So they really can't spin it like that the way they wanted to, the way they probably did to a certain extent in 2017, the first year of the first Trump administration. He is so much more firmer in the saddle on the things he wants to pursue, which is why, and I'm just speaking in my own personal opinion here, it is dismaying for a lot of us to see him pursuing things that I don't feel are in his wheelhouse. We don't want to see him being interventionist abroad. We're not interested in Israel, in Ukraine, and in settling. We're interested in here in America. And I find it very interesting. His political enemies encourage him to get involved in Europe, in the Middle East. And they're the ones attacking him for getting him involved with Venezuela in the drug smuggling. Whereas the classic America First approach is Monroe Doctrine. We have this is our hemisphere. This is our porch. We're taking care of our neighborhood and let the rest of the world take care of itself. Trump's opponents are like, take care of the rest of the world, but we don't want you involved here in our hemisphere. You're a war criminal if you sink these boats. The classic America First approach is defend America here at home. And to me, Trump is doing that with these going after these drug smuggling boats, cleaning up our hemisphere. He is not doing that when he's getting involved in the Middle East and settling conflicts abroad. It is not part of his mission as America First advocates see it.
Okay. Yeah, I see your point there. Now, as to the Venezuela one, yes, that's very much the interventionism there. That is very much an America first position, I think,
I think it
because
is.
the drugs are coming in. That's it's undeniable. The crime that's associated with that is impacting Americans. And then rather than wait until it's crossed the border to try and deal with it, he's trying to deal with it, as you say, just beyond his front porch. There's a car hurtling towards your front porch. You do something about it before it gets to your front porch. I get that. Now, in terms of what's happening, I presume you're talking about the war in Ukraine and the now what seems to be, and I hope we're not recording this at the wrong time, that what seems to be over is the conflict in Israel. And about Donald Trump getting involved in that. Now, you're right that a lot of the people are from the America First position. They don't see the advantage to America there. But I'm going to play the devil's advocate a little here, and I'm sure you won't end up agreeing with my position. This is not necessarily even my position, but I'd like to present this to you. America is safer when the world is at peace. Would you agree?
I mean, that sounds like classic Dick Cheney, Donald Trump. That sounds like you want to give your defense contractor donors a pile of money.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
We're sick of that. I know you know what I'm saying. We're so sick of hearing those. Can I use the term aphorism again? We're so sick of hearing that talk and the problems of Americans here at home being neglected. So my eyes immediately begin to roll when I hear that talk, because we've been hearing it for 30 years. Started with George Bush Sr. and all our treasure, our time, and everything is going overseas. And the problems here at home just keep getting worse and worse and worse. So no, honestly, it is not in America's interest if there's peace. And I don't care about the Middle East. I really don't. I care about American citizens being murdered here at their homes by an invasion of illegal aliens that have been deliberately imported here by people who have a malevolent goal in mind to destroy American sovereignty and what this country used to be about.
Yeah, so coming back to something that you said earlier about how that there is this growing public support, or the public support is already there for the deportation of illegal aliens. Now, I think it's pretty fascinating because you could actually see it in the polling that this was. I mean, the best poll that there was for this kind of thing was Donald Trump getting elected, right? He said he's going to deport them, and then he got elected. And he won all 7 swing states, and he won all these counties. And he won the popular vote, which kind of tells you that the people were backing that. Now, the media would have us, the left-leaning media, I should be more specific about, would have the public believe that at large, they believe Donald Trump has gone too fast and too far. And I'm not entirely sure I believe that because of how polls are so often phrased. So, for example, if you ask, do you support deporting illegal aliens who have committed a crime in the United States? I think the support for that is somewhere around 80+%. All right. It's quite straightforward. It's an 80-20 issue, and the 80% is with Donald Trump. But then what the pollsters do at the behest of those people hiring them to do the polls is they say, would you support deporting someone who, and then add several caveats like they've never committed any crime, they've only done this, they've only done that. Would you support deporting them? And so they say, there's far less people who support that. And so they say that support for Donald Trump's deportation agenda is waning. And I don't think it is. And my evidence that I don't think the support for that is waning is that what we're seeing in other countries, and I know you don't like to talk about other countries, Joe Schaeffer, because what have they got to do with America, right? But they're good.
I'm not apologizing for that.
I know. They're good indicators. When Britain sneezes, America catches a cold, and vice versa. And what we're seeing in the UK, for example, is Nigel Farage's Reform Party, which is very much focused on currently stopping the influx of illegal migrants coming over on boats and then being housed in nice hotels and being given everything they could ever want and never being allowed to deport them. but they're also talking about the cutting out any forms of benefits or things for people who have just essentially arrived and decided this is where they want to stay without any formal invitation or work visa, things like that. And the Reform Party has won or come tops. I think it's over 100, the last 150 polls that have taken place, they've come top. Their polling average is double the Labour and Tory parties. So it's the two of them combined, the Labour Party and the Tory Party combined. And what that tells me is there's an appetite for this. Now, I don't think that appetite would be there if the British people hadn't seen what Donald Trump had managed to effectuate without particularly changing any laws, but he managed to close the border, which, for the previous 4 years, we were told there's nothing can be done about it, we're doing our best. And he managed to pretty much close it down to a trickle coming across. And I think that's really impacted what the rest of the world sees as possible. They've made it the art of the possible. Joe Schaeffer, I'm going to have to let you go. Thank you ever so much for being with us. Wishing you a Happy New Year.
Thanks. Happy New Year to you.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.